Hi, Bill here with 30-Minute Woodshop. Thanks for joining. All right, so today's project is going to be super easy. Great beginner project. All right, this is really easy. All right, and actually this follows on from a previous video I just did. If you look at that up here, I think there's a link should show up here. And it's a 6 tools. And it tells you all about the 6 tools that you need to start woodworking. All right, and those 6 tools are sitting here. So I've got a pencil, mechanical pencil. I prefer a 2mm mechanical pencil. I can give you a bunch of different reasons why. Okay, you're going to need a square. All right, square, this happens to be a combination square. You can see it's got a 90 degree and a 45. This happens to be a sterret. Sterrets are, this will last you your kids, and your grandkids, probably even your great grandkids. I would recommend a sterret, but check that out in the video. You're going to need a yo-yo or a tape measure. Get a good tape measure. That 12 to 16 foot range. Get something that's reliable, from a reliable source. Milwaukee is great. You can probably find one from DeWalt or Stanley. But you need that because these Chinese ones, the numbers probably are not right. They'll do something in metric and then they'll try and convert it and they'll round. What you want is a good imperial yo-yo. All right. So I've got all that stuff, my marking there, right? I need to cut, so you can use a circle saw. You can use a hand saw if you want. I'll probably do one on hand tools later on. But here's a circle saw by Milwaukee, M18. I've got a couple of corded tools, absolutely great. I'm moving over to battery operated, but corded tools are good. Battery operated, I'm using the Milwaukee. Again, you go to that video and take a look at it. This actually answers everything that I need, okay? But whatever you choose a good one. It's going to last you a lifetime. Okay, now that I've got that, you're going to have to do some holding things together before I get them all fastened up, right? Clamps, you're going to need a couple clamps. These happen to be 18-inch Bessie Tradesman or professional clamps. All right, they don't have a lock on them. That's why I love these clamps. You know, 30-minute whip shop's all about doing things fast and easy. If it's not fast, it's not easy, I don't want to do it. Okay? Tradesman for me worked out really well. You can also get what's called a clutch clamp. They make clutch clamps. The other thing is these are made in Germany, and you really don't get better than that. So they're highly reliable. I love my Bessie clamps. As a matter of fact, most of my clamps are Bessie. They're a little more expensive, but they're totally worth it if you ask me. All right, so now they got all clamped up and everything's held together. I need a way to fix those pieces together. Here's a drill. You're going to need a drill at some point. This is going to be the one tool that you're going to use across everything. Pick a good one. Again, battery, because of battery considerations, I have an M18. Absolutely love this Milwaukee drill. Think about that. So those are the 6 tools you need. I need 2 more things additionally. Hearing protection. Guys, always wear hearing protection. All right, this happens to be a set of isotunes. It's got some integrated Bluetooth. And I can hear people with an omnidirectional mic. I can hear people talking. So it works out really, really well. On top of that, you're going to need safety glasses. This saw, for instance, will be winging pieces off at about 120 miles an hour. You get one of those in your eye, you could be seriously hurt. You don't want to be that 80-year-old guy who can't see out of one eye and can't hear, can't watch the news of the sports or even the farm report because you can't see, can't hear. All right, take care of your eyes. Take care of your hearing. So all that said, like always, right? You can go to my website. You can pick up a sketch, right? A dimension sketch of this project, right? To make it easy to build. Just run down here to 30minutewoodshop.com. Check that out. Also, there's some links down there too. Matter of fact, if you hit more, there'll be links to these tools and things. You can explore those. With all that said, let's talk about materials. For materials, you're going to need one 8-foot long 1x12. Now, for all you folks who are brand new to this game of woodworking, 1x12 is a nominal, they call nominal dimension. What that means is that it's not actually 1 inch by 12 inch. It's 3/4 inch thick, roughly, pretty close. And it's kind of almost somewhat not really 12 inches wide. In reality, let's see what this thing really is. I haven't checked in a while. So this is 11 and 5/16. So 11 and 5/16. All right, just a little skosh over a quarter. 11 and a quarter. All right. They keep cutting the size of this thing. I swear to God, it's been cut. When I first started woodworking, it was like 11 and 7/8. All right. Understand you got some planing to make these things, but anyway, I'm not going to get into it. They keep skinning it up. It keeps getting, pretty soon you're going to have a 1 by 12 that's 10 inches wide. Anyway, so it's 11, basically 11 and a quarter, just a skosh over. But you need an 8-foot piece, all right? With that single 8-foot piece, we'll have everything we need, all right? Now, let's talk about layout and cutting. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to cut my 4-foot piece. So if you go to your dimension sketch, right, you're going to cut the back. The back is 4 foot long. So, easy enough to do, right? I'm taking my yo-yo, hanging out here, going to 48 inches, using my mechanical pencil. Now, if you make it 39 or 40, whatever, adjust this height to whatever fits you, all right? I like the 4 foot height because it gives me plenty of room to put house numbers on. Now, using the square, right? All I do is line it up and draw my line. Now I have a line at 4 foot. Here's some trick. Now on the part that I'm not going to use, this is the 4 foot side over here. On this side, I'm going to put 2 X's, one at each end. That way when I cut, what I know is that I'm going to be cutting on that side, right? Because my 4 foot ends at the line, my blade takes up 1/8 of an inch. I want the edge of that blade to be on that line. This is why you don't gang mark, because if I put the 4 foot, the 1 foot, the 1 foot, and so on and so forth, then what happens is every time I make another cut, I lose another 1/8 of an inch. By the time I get done making a couple of cuts, I'm 3/8, ½ inch short. So I'm going to mark these all individually and cut them all off individually. All right. Now I've got this marked. Let's go make some cuts. So cutting this is pretty straightforward. I'm using a circle saw here. Happens to be a Milwaukee. A couple things we're going to do. I have to adjust the depth of cut because I don't want to be cutting through my bench. You see it's sitting on my bench. It's currently sitting on a couple of pieces of 3/4 inch. So I've got a 3/4 inch space down here. I want my blade to just cut through the workpiece. All right. Now to do that, I got to adjust the blade. To do that, I got to open the safety cover. Okay. Now, if I was using my electric or my ported tools, I would unplug them for safety reasons. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull the battery pack. That way, there's no chance of me accidentally clicking the trigger while my fingers are in place. 99.9% chance I wouldn't do that, but hey, I have all my fingers. A lot of woodworkers don't. All that said, it's pretty straightforward. This has a lever right here. Basically, you rotate the lever, that loosens the screw, and I can move the foot. I'll pull back the safety guard. I'm going to hold a piece of wood underneath it. This is another 3/4 inch piece, and I'm just going to move this down until I only have three teeth remaining. And right about there. I'll flip the lever back, lock that in place. And you can see here, I'll pull this back one more time. And you can see basically I just have these little teeth right here, entering and leaving. So I got plenty of room down here. I'm not cutting through my bench. All right. Next thing's hearing protection. I already have eye protection on. Grabbing my isotunes. We'll make a cut. So one of the things I really like about this particular saw is there's actually a light that shines directly on the cutting mouth. So it's very easy to see the line. And you can kind of see that right there. So I really like that feature. Making sure this is clear. Now with that part cut, I got to mark and cut a couple more pieces. You can see from the sketch. Okay, I need two sides, right? And I need a front face. I'm going to cut the two sides, and once I cut the two sides, I'm going to go ahead and start using my Craig jig to make the pocket holes. All right, have my Craig jig set up, clamp is set, collar is set where it needs to be. Do a quick check. Yep, looks good. I've marked my pieces. I marked the center line, then I marked 3 inches either side on both my side pieces. Those will connect to the front, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop 3 holes in each side of the back piece, and those are going to be attaching the sides. Let's start making some noise. Now, assembly is super easy. I'm using pocket screws, but if you didn't use pocket screws, this is pretty straightforward. You'll put glue on the edges, fold the sides and the front up. You'll clamp those in position, and you'll either drive the screws or the nails from the outside. Everything's perfect. Now, I'm using pocket hole screws with the Craig jig. That way you don't see them. You know, that's could be good, could be bad. I don't know. I'm going to try it this way. I like the idea of pocket hole screws because I don't see any screws or nails from the outside. If I was doing it the other way, I'd probably recess the screws and fill the holes. Same with the nails, but I'm not. All right, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to put some glue on the front. And what I'm doing is I'm assembling the side pieces to the front, and then I'm standing that up and I'm going to assemble the entire assembly, the front and sides, to the back. Okay? So let's put some glue on this and get started. By the way, this glue tool, you can check out up here. I have a video for making this glue tool too. Super easy to open a bottle of glue this way. And now I'll drive the screws. And there we go. It's just that easy. Okay, again, got this in, got it clamped. What we want to do is make sure everything's flush. We're going to throw one more clamp on it up here. Okay, we're almost done with this thing. I want to put a couple feet on this, all right? The reason I want to put feet on this is twofold. One, they're going to be on the bottom here. There's going to be little triangles. It's going to do two things. It's going to give this some structural stability side to side. It's also going to get this off the ground, because what I want to do is when I put potted plants in here and I put water into them, I want that water, if there's any excess water, to flow through. If it rains, I don't want rain being held in here. So I'll put those feet on. I'm going to put a couple of bars in here, supports, and I'm going to use those to support a couple small loose pieces that go across, just to get the plant up off the ground. And so by that time we'll be done. So let's put those feet on. Okay, I have these 4 little triangles already cut up. Super easy. They don't have to be triangles. They can be squares. Doesn't really matter. All I want to do is put some feet on the bottom here just to get this thing off. So I'm going to put these in. Add a couple of screws. Matter of fact, in adding those screws, I'm going to do some pre-drilling. Put a little glue on it. Again, pre-drilling for a couple reasons. The first reason, the primary reason here is because I don't want to split this grain. Okay, the feet are on. Let's move on to putting the support bars inside this. All right, all I'm doing here is taking this 3/4 by 3/4 scrap, and I'm just going to glue it and screw it in place. And that's going to act as a rest for a couple cross pieces, just to keep the plant off the bottom. Flip it over, do it again. We can call this done. A fast and super easy project that anybody can build with very few tools. And I'd say I had a lot of fun building this thing. It was easy to do. Even you can do it. You need a few tools. Like I said, those 6 tools that I put in my previous video, or that I talked about at the very beginning here. This is perfect. Basically, what you do is set a potted plant in here, like I said, a mum, hardy mum in the fall, or you can do an impatient and whatever. It's set up so that water flows through, so it'll last longer. Now, normally you'd paint this thing. This is going to my daughter, so I'm going to let her do the painting work because that's what she wanted to do. I assume she's going to put her house number on here, which is usually how you do these things. But hey, for about 18 bucks in wood, if you went to buy this thing, it's like $60 or $70. So you can save yourself a lot of money if you're interested in doing this kind of stuff. Now, like I said earlier, you can get a dimension sketch. Go down here. I'm going to move this because you can't read 30-minute woodshop with this thing behind. Go down here to 30minutewoodshop.com. You can get a dimension sketch. Easy enough. There's links to all the tools and things I use, especially the 6 tools that I talked about earlier, and the safety gear, because you definitely need safety gear. But like I said, an easy project. Go down, hit more. Also, you can check the links out there too. Explore some of those. You might find something interesting. And hey, I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. And until next time, folks, good making.